Welcome to War Journalist. In order not to miss the latest developments and exclusive reports on the war being carried out by Israel, you can subscribe to our channel. The Israeli army operations in the center of Gaza are improving day by day. In particular, major discoveries are being made about the structure of hidden tunnels, tunnel entrances, Hamas commanders, and its network within the Palestinian state. Yesterday, Israeli forces captured the largest Hamas headquarters. Today, the Israel Defense Forces announced that units of the 7th Armored Brigade and the Ghani Infantry Brigade captured several Hamas government buildings in the Shujaiya and Rimal neighborhoods of Gaza City. The captured buildings include the Hamas Parliament, the government complex, and the police headquarters. One of the most striking developments of the day: critical intelligence was obtained during the interrogation of Hamas leaders arrested by the Israeli army. The Israeli army has launched a large-scale arrest campaign in the Gaza Strip amid heightened tensions. A few days ago, the IDF spokesperson's unit said that more than 20 Hamas terrorists were detained by the IDF and Shin Bet, Israel's security agency, in the Gaza Strip and brought to Israel for interrogation. Among the Hamas members arrested by Israel were senior Hamas commanders. These terrorists were interrogated to obtain valuable and up-to-date intelligence from the ground to assist the IDF's ongoing ground offensive in Gaza. More than 2,520 Palestinians have reportedly been arrested in the West Bank since the beginning of the war in a series of raids by Israeli forces in West Bank cities and towns. An average of 50 Palestinians, including Hamas supporters and members, were detained every day. The IDF has obtained stunning intelligence. All of these IDF operations were aimed at destroying the pro-Iranian Hamas terrorist organization's tunnel infrastructure in Gaza and preventing terrorist supporters in the city and Hamas senior leaders and commanders from hiding among civilians and in the tunnels. This intelligence was crucial. The fact that terrorist organizations such as Hamas and Hezbollah were supported by Iran made the importance of the intelligence network on the battlefield even greater. Israel's internal intelligence agency Shin Bet and external intelligence have done a good job in this field. The Israeli army, in cooperation with Shin Bet and Mossad, sought to obtain critical intelligence data from hundreds of members of the terrorist group it captured in order to rescue around 240 hostages and destroy Hamas's tunnel infrastructure and ammunition sources in Gaza. During the interrogation of some of the Hamas commanders and members captured by Israel, Israeli intelligence obtained critical information about the location of the weapons arsenal sent by Iran to Hamas, the entry and exit routes of the tunnels, and the headquarters. The Israel Defense Forces reported that fighter jets attacked a Hamas site on the roof of a building in the Gaza Strip and a tunnel near the building following intelligence information obtained from the Shin Bet interrogation of a Hamas terrorist. Indeed, the IDF revealed that its ground forces clashed today with armed members of the Hamas terrorist organization in the Strip, killing many of them, capturing their leaders, confiscating weapons and intelligence materials, and even locating tunnels. Although the IDF knew that it would be difficult to capture the military high command area and some of the connected tunnel networks, and had deployed both the high-powered Unit 401 and the Givati troops for the task, senior officials were surprised by the scope and complexity of what could only be so extensive and complex in its search of these special tunnels. The IDF found indications that Hamas's high command was hiding there, and one senior official speculated that they may have included Gaza Hamas chief Yahya Sinwar and Hamas military chief Mohammed Deif. Since the beginning of the war, the Israeli army has carried out numerous ground, naval, and air strikes in an effort to eradicate the Iranian-backed Hamas terrorist organization from Gaza and establish lasting peace. As part of these operations, Ars Beit Hanan and Gaza were the northern lines of the IDF's offensive. To date, the IDF has destroyed more than 4,000 300 targets on the Gaza coastline in ground attacks alone. The terrorist organization in the area is horrifying and astonishing both underground and above ground. The Israeli army, with its ground, air, and navy units, is doing everything in its power to erase this evil organization. Al-Zarnuk and Khan Yunis were the southern parts of the IDS line of attack. Here, too, the Israeli forces continued their operations to cut off the Iranian-backed Hamas's supply of additional ammunition to Gaza via Rafah. The Israeli army has been conducting mainly airstrikes in this area. This is because Khan Yunis is not suitable for direct full-scale ground offensive operations by the IDF at the moment. This is because Khan Yunis has a very complex network of tunnels. Part of this network not only goes the traditional 3 to 5 meters underground, where many Hamas tunnels pass, but also reaches depths of 30 meters. Despite all the dangers that Hamas spreads, the Israeli army, with its intelligence services, special forces, naval, and air power, has so far destroyed nearly 10,000 Hamas terror targets. With the IDF's recent ground offensive, Hamas's average daily casualties have risen to over 300. The IDF has also continued its offensive operations in Gaza as the tunnel networks have become less active. The Israel Defense Forces continued its ground offensive in the northern Gaza Strip throughout the night. On the other hand, Hamas, which is cornered, is trying to buy some time in hostage negotiations, while increasing its psychological warfare against Israel. Indirect negotiations between Israel and Hamas on an agreement to release the hostages have involved several official and self-appointed mediators, but are moving at a turtle's pace. Israel accuses Hamas of dragging its feet to buy time. Half the world is involved in these negotiations. The Americans are fully involved, starting with President Joe Biden. The CIA director is personally deeply involved. The Americans have sent special envoys to Israel, are in close contact, and are working mainly with the Qataris. European states are involved as well as Egypt. Israel is conducting the negotiations through Mossad chief David Barra and his predecessor Yossi Cohen. The deal now believed to be on the table includes the release of dozens of hostages, the supply of fuel to Hamas, and most importantly, a cessation of attacks in exchange for a similar number of Hamas prisoners in Israeli jails. Hamas's opening position was to demand a 3-day ceasefire. It later extended it to 5 days, but this is an old maneuver by Hamas. This is their game. Hamas terrorists want to buy time, they want to trade hostages, and they want to extend it for 2 or 3 months until Israel is exhausted and the army withdraws from Gaza. But Israel understands this and is trying to manage both fronts at the same time. To continue the ground operation in Gaza with all its might as if there were no hostage negotiations, and at the same time to press for an acceleration of the negotiations. Consequently, what are Iran's current policies? The international community is on the verge of a regional conflict in the Middle East, and Israel has crossed red lines according to Iranian leaders. However, Iran is attempting to avoid a direct confrontation by equivocally blurring its red lines in order to avoid stumbling into a trap. Iran employs proxies from its own axis of resistance in the region to launch limited assaults against Israel and U.S. military bases in Iraq and Syria. As opposed to pursuing clear strategies, the utilization of proxies such as Hamas and Hezbollah has come to symbolize the foreign policy of Iran. Iran provides support to these resistance forces while maintaining that they operate autonomously. However, in actuality, to what extent do the resistance forces possess autonomy from Iran? While this discourse may endure indefinitely, much has been revealed regarding Iran's behavior in relation to its network of allies. Although Iran provides support, guidance, and empowerment to these terrorist proxies, it seldom issues directives. Neither Hezbollah nor Hamas anticipates constant or direct assistance from Iran during a conflict. These terrorist organizations, which are allies of Iran, reached their conclusions with its approval. Thus, it is improbable that Hamas or Hezbollah would undertake any actions that Iran would condemn. In conclusion, both Israel and the United States must adopt this strategy and recognize that Iran poses the greatest threat in the Middle East. Thank you for following us. Subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss the latest videos prepared by our team with special reports on the Israeli war and all the conflicts in the Middle East and the latest developments on the front lines. See you in our next work.